this main content container, if we look in the code over here, you'll see that the div ID is main content, which is also reflected down here in our HTML tag, sort of nested tag hierarchy here. This is actually really valuable to be able to look at to see that this particular selection that we've made, or this one here, watch the bottom change when I select the sidebar. Okay, so we're still inside the container div, but there's a couple of things inside the container div. One is the sidebar one, another one is the main content, another one is the footer, and the header. So everything is sort of nested. This main body, which is everything that's involved, look at the code view of that. You notice it's the entire body that we've essentially selected, which has the class of 2-column liquid left header. So when you see over here in the right a class 2-column liquid left header and a number sign container, that means that this particular selector is at work. If you give an ID to a div inside of this class, this ID, it will pick up these new attributes. So basically the way this works in cascading style sheet form is the body class is here with our main body class of 2-column liquid left header. Inside of that is a div which has the ID of container. If we look over here, the div ID container gets a background of white, 1 pixel border, and a width of 80%. The header div inside of the container div picks up a different background color than the FFFF, that's white. DDDD is sort of gray. You'll see that by looking over here. Let me deselect this real quick and turn our visual aid layout backgrounds off for just a moment. Okay, you'll see that we have our body background is this 6666, which is this ultra dark gray. You can change that right here. I'll make it black. Our container, which is everything here, has a background of white, which is going to basically end up showing through this white area here, because the header and the sidebar and the footer also have their own background color specified. So if I look in header, I have a different background color. So if we go body, container, header, this background color is the one that's going to override the previous one. So if I have a code view real quick here, body, 2-column, container, header. The container has a white background, but the header has a gray background. So therefore, the white is still showing through here, especially because if you look at the main content, there actually is no background color specified for main content. If I added a property of background color, and let's just, for the sake of argument, make it really easy to see, then you'll notice that that particular content area only picks up that yellow color. And this background here, this white, is the container itself. So if we change the container color just a little bit, let's say like that, you can see that we just went off color with the container. So the header is controlling this, the main content's controlling this, sidebar is controlling this, and the container is controlling what's in the background here. Let me change that back to white. And we'll change our main content also back to white. If your main content div and your container div are the same color, then it ends up looking like this text is just floating inside this box, but there are actually 2 boxes at work here. So those are the ways that we actually specify some rules about the individual boxes. Our paddings, if I want to actually make the padding of that header bigger than it is, so if I want to change something in the header, the quickest way to figure out what we're actually looking at is to click on that particular div, look at the bottom to see what the div ID is. The selector is header, so we look up here for header, and header is actually going to be the thing where padding is set. So if I want that to be deeper, I'll just type 40 pixels instead. Now we've got a much bigger pad left and right.